Good afternoon. Thank you for attending this parent session. This is the third one of the school year, and this is all about our Ready Math program that we implemented this school year for grades K through 8. So I'm going to share my screen and we can begin. Okay. Okay. So this is a presentation on understanding Ready Mathematics. And as I said, this is a third one. Okay. All right, so we implemented this program this past school year. We started training teachers last school year towards the end of it. We did a little bit of homework prior to choosing this program by meeting with sending districts, having teachers go to classrooms at other elementary and middle schools to watch lessons, talk to teachers in other districts that are similar to ours that are implementing this program. And we've been providing a lot of training to the staff since it's been ongoing. It's also been ongoing this year. We've also had our consultant from Ready Math visit each of the schools on a schedule to rotate into different classrooms to watch lessons and provide some feedback at the end of the day. And the consultant and I speak very frequently, going back and forth with teachers for any questions that he or she may have. So I wanted to put this presentation together for parents. At back to school night, I had some parents come up to me and ask me a little bit about the program. So I thought this would be an important one for today. So we go from how to why. And that's really this program, Ready Math. It's a K-8 math program, and it allows students to build a deeper conceptual understanding of math. Okay, I'm going to explain each component. So the difference is divided into 4 different components. It's problem-based learning, it's student-led discourse, and it's multiple strategies that are valued, and we focus a lot on the why. So the goal is to really move beyond how to get answers and focus on why the math works. This scenario and this philosophy creates flexibility, confident problem solvers for our future. All right, a look at what a multi-day lesson entails. So it's divided up over 3 areas. It's explore, develop, and then refine. Okay. The lesson 1 is explore. And this lesson begins with an explore day. So it's a hands-on lesson. It's open-ended tasks. It builds curiosity with students, and you're able to see what they know about the new topic versus what they need to know. The next day is it's called Develop Day. This is the core of the lesson where you're developing those skills. And the cycle is try it, people, okay. Try it, discuss it, connect it, and that's how it flows together. So that's the Develop Day. It spans the main part of the lesson and what you want to learn over a multi-day lesson. So one lesson could take a few days, 3 to 4 days, depending on how the students do. And it really focuses on understanding the content more than anything. So it's explore, develop, and then a big piece of the develop is the big chunk of the lesson, and that's the try, discuss, and connect. So this is where we spent a lot of our professional development this year. And this is what is much different than our former math programs that we've had in the past. It may seem like a whole new way of teaching it and learning it. It's because it is. And it's a much better way. Our students are, and I've been into a lot of the classrooms this year, they're really starting to get it from my point of view here in the district. So the try it is students attempting a challenging problem on their own or sometimes with a partner, depending on the grade level. And they can use any strategy that they can think of. Long are the days of it's one way to solve it and that's it. So it's any strategy. The next part is the discuss it piece. So the students share with the teachers or with their classmates what strategy they used. I've seen teachers have students come up to the board to draw it on the board and to write it. I've seen students just verbally say what they're doing, but they share the strategy that was successful for them. I was in one classroom where there were 3 or 4 strategies, and that was nice to see. They focus on how. How did you think the problem is being solved? What do you think about the problem? What is the problem asking for? And then the last piece is the connected piece. So the teacher helps connect all of the different student-led ideas, so all of the different strategies that were used to the core mathematical concept of that lesson. So the true objective of the lesson, this is where they connect it. So that's how this works. That's how the development day, that's what it consists of, the try, discuss, and connect it. There's a lot of student-led discourse during this day. So it's more than just math talk. It's student-led discussions. It's a lot less teacher lecture, which is hard sometimes because teachers are very used to going over and assisting, and they still do now, but in a very different way. It's a step back now to let the students have time to figure out problems and to come up with these strategies on how to solve problems. And they're really activating their prior knowledge. There's multiple strategies that are used, which values all of the ways that students think. Again, as I said, not just the one right way, one strategy used. This builds their confidence and this builds flexibility within teaching, within learning, and how they apply it to the classroom and how they apply the skills to real world situations. I was in a meeting and another educator said, we don't walk around in our neighborhood and we just see multiplication and we see adding and word problems. We have to figure out how to make what we see in the real world apply to how we're learning math. And that's the big difference of this program. It's the application of it. And really focusing on the why piece that I had said before is this program builds a deep conceptual understanding before you're actually teaching the how to. So instead of giving the hints on, here's a shortcut to learn this math fact, or these are the words to highlight in this math problem, a word problem, which is heavily word problems, this program, which is great because the students get to dissect the word problems. This is where the real learning takes place. Okay. The next part is the refine and the practice. So this is part 2 of the lesson. We just covered part 1. Now this is part 2. This is after you go through the development day, students have the refine day, which their skills, they use their skills that they've learned by applying a different understanding to the different types of problems that they're seeing on the board, in their books. I know there's conversations that this is too online, too computer friendly. It's really not. It's a really nice balance of watching on the projector, using your Chromebooks, and paper pencil workbooks as well. It's a nice balance. The students are not staring at the computer all day for their math time. This builds fluency, which is something that all students need, no matter what grades they're in, kindergarten up to 8th grade, and it makes confident math students. Also, the practice piece. This is an important piece of the lesson flow of part 2. It's independent work. So now you take everything that you've learned over the multi-day lesson for the week, and you put it to practice. You apply it to problems. You problem solve, and you solidify the learning, and you make it stick. You could think of, well, I just learned this way to do this. So when you're outside of the classroom, you apply it to other subjects. So a lot of this information you can take to science, you can take to social studies and ELA. So it's not just that. That's another piece that's a little bit different. It's more fluid with other subjects as well because of that application piece. Okay, as I was saying before, in a few different ways, we are teaching students how to think differently. So we encourage students, this program, to find their own path to the solution. It's not just one strategy. By also doing this, it builds critical thinking skills, more number sense. For example, previous math programs in general, it's memorizing, carry the 1, move this, move the place value here. This is using a number line to possibly visualize distance, drawing a visual model where, like I put on here, a tape diagram. So more visual, more real world applications. Breaking numbers apart. For example, 45 plus 27 becomes 40 plus 20, and then 5 plus 7. So, and it's really interesting to see how some of the students choose which strategies they want to use. And it really is building confidence in for math strategies with our students, from what I've seen. So how you can help at home, because obviously we want a partnership with you at home. So here are some strategies that you can use at home. So ask them questions when you see them doing their math work, or when they come home, don't tell them. So what this means is that you're fostering a growth mindset. So what does that mean? What do you already know about this problem? So instead of saying, well, what do you have to solve here? What do you have to circle? What do you have to highlight? What do you know about the problem? So when it's flipped. Instead of saying, what do we have to figure out? It's now, what do I already know? Can you draw a picture of it? Or, wow, this is an interesting way to solve this problem. Why did you do this? What step comes next? What other strategy can you use to get the same answer? It's more of asking and inquiring how they're solving problems, what they're applying it to, as opposed to, okay, well, you know that in all means add, or take away means subtract. It's just, we don't want to know what they want to know. It's what can you tell from the word problem and figure it out based on that. So a little bit about the MyPath. The MyPath is personalized learning path. So there were a lot of questions about this that I received on back to school night, just walking around at the different school. And the MyPath is designed based off of your child's diagnostic test results. It doesn't stay like that all year. It's just a baseline. So if I'm a 6th grade student and I scored, now keeping in mind that the first diagnostic, as with a lot of universal screeners, it tests students on content they have not even seen yet. So as a 6th grade student, I should be testing at the end of 5th grade. And a lot of parents may think that means they're behind, but they're not. They're exactly where they should be. Then, based on that, the MyPath gets set for your child. And as your child is on it, the more often that he or she is on it, the more it resets. So if your child is finding difficulty with certain questions, and also keeping in mind the questions may not be what they're learning in school, because it's based off of a diagnostic assessment, not based off of the curriculum that the teachers are working with, because I know that also caused a little bit of confusion. So based off of that, if your child receives a few answers wrong, they go down a little bit, not in score, not in grade level, but just with the amount that is being shown on the screen. So instead of a multi-problem word problem, it might just be one-step word problems, or a little bit different. And it teaches your child as he or she is in the lesson. If your child is on MyPath every day, they will be improving with the skills that they were found to be lacking through the diagnostic. We take the diagnostic 3 times a year, and each time throughout the year, it resets the MyPath based off of where a child is. So that's a little bit about the MyPath, what it is. Sometimes it provides games and lessons. Now, a lot of teachers in the beginning were asking for that feature to be turned off because they thought it was just a typical game, but they're actually built in to the individual program for where the students are in their MyPath based on need breaks, based on, they're not really games, they're learning games, but you take that 1 minute to 30 seconds pause, and then you get back on track. So it's not a game as if you're thinking, computer games or Roblox, things like that. It's an educational game. It also provides, as I said, lessons and practice lessons that are at their level. So back in the day, we would hear about children choosing the just right book. This is how it is in math. It's choosing the just right level to fulfill your child's gaps and extend learning based off of the diagnostic. And then your role in this, we highly suggest and encourage 30 to 45 minutes per week at a minimum. The more that you do, the better it is. But we also know that it's everyone's lives are very busy, and there's after school functions and there's work. So we are also having students participate in MyPath at school as well. But it's really great at a personalized instruction for your children, and it also is a great support for them. Okay, I can open this up for questions in the chat. This is also going to be posted, I would think, within the next few days on the district website. And I'm also, I think I just said this is being recorded. So it'll be on the district website, on the YouTube channel. And I'm also repeating this evening at 7:30. So if you happen to log in late, or if you weren't able to hear what I was saying, you'll definitely have another opportunity to log back in later on tonight, or you can watch it on the our YouTube channel. So if anybody has any questions that they would like to put into the chat, and I can answer everything that I can answer. If there's something that I may not know the answer to, I can definitely get back to you once I find the answer out. So I'll just wait a few minutes for questions. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat the questions. Thanks for doing this. Do you have the science research that this methodology is predicated upon? Yes. I don't have it at hand right now, but any program that we bring into a school district has to be research-based. We have to do a lot of background on it. So I can pull up some information for you, and I can send that out to you in an email. Let me just write it down. Okay. All right. Are all grades are all grades supposed to do the My Path assignments at home? We are suggesting, it depends on the grade level. The younger grades, sometimes, it depends on the grade level. So typically we start off at the K1 level and we see how it goes in school first. Or we might suggest, one lesson or 15 minutes. It's a little bit different based on the grade level. But we're not requiring you to do this because we are doing it in school, but we are just suggesting that you do. But again, it depends on the grade level. Okay, are there resources where we can find practice problems to work on at home? Yes. So there is on, and I can send out, I can actually put on the website, but there is a parent portal and it gives a ton of resources for parents. Practice sheets, there's Q&A, there's a lot of explanation on there. So there is information on it's Curriculum Associates. That's the iReady platform. And if you go to the parent portal, you can pull up a lot. I actually think there's a link to it on your diagnostic report for your children on the link. It'll take you to the parent portal. I think it's on there as well. Okay. Are the iReady lessons supposed to be aligned with the current Ready Math lessons? It seems that they are not. So no, as I said and I think you're talking about the MyPath. The MyPath that is based off of the diagnostic. And that's based off of the very beginning, which is the first one that we've taken. Strategies and standards the students have not yet been exposed to this year. And based on that, the MyPath is set to fill in the gaps. So it may not, I would be very surprised if it matched what the teacher is doing in the classroom at that time. So it's a little bit different. It fills in gaps prior to the students being taught. So with the idea that when that concept comes up in the classroom, there's a little bit of background from the MyPath, and you can just begin that lesson in the classroom. In addition to the iReady platform, are kids also doing counting by hand and on paper, part of a mix? So yes, there is a mix. It's a balance. There's paper pencil. There's 2 workbooks, one workbook for the first half of the year, a second workbook for the second half of the year. Most of the time the teachers have it ripped out, or they have it, the students have it in their workbooks at school, and it's paper pencil as well. The counting on the hand, long time ago, we learned from Dr. Nancy Schultz. She came to the district and presented a math workshop for parents all about counting with fingers. And she told us use manipulatives instead. So all of the classrooms, even up to 8th grade, are housed with manipulatives for counting purposes. But it is a nice balance of paper, still writing down, and online. Okay. I know there isn't a lot of front hour classroom instruction. How are young students learning the strategies? Okay, so I think what you mean by this is because the students lead a little bit more, it's still being taught by the teachers. It's not just teacher lecture. It's not just here's the word problem, or here's the adding sentence, here's the fraction, here's volume, and this is what we're doing, and then practice problems. It's a little bit more student driven so that they have the time to explore different strategies. They have the time to work with partners or sometimes independent based off of different ways that they are taught to solve problems. So if I gave off that impression that the teachers are just stepping back and not teaching, I apologize. That's not what I meant. It's just not a lecture. It's not teacher dictated. It's more of a collaborative. They're still teaching your child, but they do take a step back to let them explore once the content is taught. I hope that clarifies. Okay, not specifically related to this presentation, but more as it pertains to me as director of curriculum. Are you able to comment on the huge discrepancy specifically in math? Let me move this. And specifically in math and instruction time between the other sending districts and Long Hill. That was in the superintendent's presentation on the district merger discussions. I think I can comment on that. So we took part in a regionalization feasibility study, and a lot of the information was incorrect, but a lot of it was correct. And what we are looking at now is our instructional time for math. I don't know how much was shared in that in what was sent out. I didn't have a chance to read the superintendent's memo yet, but we are looking at instructional minutes for math, making sure that our students have the equity that they need in order to all 4 districts go to the high school with the same amount of math instruction and the same the same opportunities that the sending districts have regarding math. So that is something that we are definitely looking into, yes. 6th grade math question. I understand that the teachers went through a bunch of training for this new curriculum, but a lot of the kiddos are still struggling. They are doing poorly on tests and having to do extra work for more credits. How do we fix this? So we did talk about that specifically with 6th grade. We noticed that a lot of the students in 6th grade, the majority of them, did poorly on the first. It's a combination of a different way of learning the math, also a combination of a different way that math is being taught, and also they did not receive this type of math instruction the year before, and that goes for all grade levels. So what that grade level decided to do was give a retest based on the certain areas that the students did very poorly on, and they offer that option for the students. So we're not going to do this all of the time, but we don't want to set the students up to fail either or feel like they're failing. So I think there's a good mix between making some accommodations with making sure that students feel successful while not steering away from the program. And I think this year is truly just a learning year for everyone involved with the program, the students, the parents, the educators. And I like that we have offered individual training for the teachers where the representative, the consultant goes into with myself and whatever building principal that we are there, go into the classroom. So we already did this at Central 3 weeks ago. We are coming to Millington on Monday, and then we will be at Gillette the first week in December. So I think this is a great opportunity for the teachers to learn more, and for even the principals to be able to better answer questions and steer teachers in the right direction. So I definitely encourage, if your children are still feeling some difficulties or still having some difficulties, to have your child reach out to their teachers, or you reach out to the teacher for the younger grades, so we can maybe close up any anxiety that students may be having towards math. Thank you. You're welcome. The flexibility and using different methods sounds great, but in my child's 2nd grade class, the work seems to be looking for very specific ways of solving the problems. For instance, 2-step word problems. And here's an example in here. They need to write step 1. Often wordy and intensive. Okay. I would first I would first recommend you reach out to your child's teacher to get a little bit more clarity on that, because one of the first rooms, grade levels that I went into was second grade, and I saw a, a lot of choice in there on different strategies being used. So maybe it was something like, maybe it was something to prepare for a quiz. I'm not really sure why you only saw one specific way. So I would definitely start with your teacher. And then if you're unable to get um, a clear answer, you can come back to me, but would need a little bit more detail. This approach might be good for the physical sciences. This is a horrific way to teach math. Math should be an instructor-led, and children should not theorize new topics. If you start on the wrong path, you will get the problem wrong. And talking with several children currently in Central School, they're lost and having to teach themselves. Why was this thrust upon everyone, especially children? Just trying to finish reading, especially children who are nearly in high school. And why were we not given the option to have our children taught the traditional way? I mean, it's not, and as I said before, it's not, teachers are not teaching it. They are taking a step back and allowing exploring, which is very important to teach students. Allow them to take the skills that they are just acquired and to apply it into many different ways and many different strategies that works for them and that works for how their brain thinks. So I guess it's just a difference of opinion in how you feel we may teach math. I do understand your point, and as my assumption is, and you have an eighth grade child because it's of the eighth grade and ninth grade comment. This this type of program, the high school is we are not the only district using Ready Mathematics, so they are used to having students come in at the ninth grade level with some of this knowledge for Ready Mathematics. So your child will be, will not be lost in ninth grade over this. And there's still, it's really not a traditional verse, an exploratory way. It's still instructing the students in math concepts, but allowing that exploration on their level to figure out the best way for them to solve it with strategies and then apply it into the real world. This is happening at the younger grades as well. Were the math teachers surveyed before the new curriculum was onboarded to get their opinions, and have they been surveyed again during the school year? I wonder they would stand. So they have been surveyed since the school year, yes. They were surveyed at the end of last year after we were looking into this program, any questions that they had, any fears that they had. So there have been at least 2 or 3 surveys to the teachers, yes, about the program. And even just walking around, we do have another training coming up, a formal training at our next professional development day, where I also send out a survey, but I did just send one out in October because we had more training then. So it's really ongoing. And I do actually read all of the suggestions, and then I look for common trends, and then I try to personalize any type of training either from myself or a PLC that we have, which is a professional learning community that we have in the buildings for math, or our consultant, to really make it meaningful for teachers and really help them with anything that they need help with. Are the K through 8 sending districts using? Yes, right now Warren has been using it for 4 years, and now we are as well. And we are the only 2 districts out of the 4 sending districts using Ready Math. I understand your views on the new wordy problems, but it's hard to discuss how we choose something that most kids struggle with, word problems, and then on top of that, basically teach themselves and or each other. I mean, they're not, so what I mean by exploring is they're not teaching each other, they're just working with each other to have that collaboration to learn from one another on ideas. So let's say I figured out a word problem one way and my partner figured it out another way, then we talk about why we picked our ways and we learn from each other. And it's just a strategy that may help me down the road as a student say, okay, maybe I'll try it this way. I liked that way as well. It really just opens up your mind to be more, I guess, creative and accepting of other strategies to use that are beneficial to you. Is the program too test intense? For my child's second grade class to date, I can count at least 5 quizzes, a mid-unit test, and a unit test, and math facts. I don't think so, no. It's there after each unit, there is a mini assessment. It might be called a quiz, it might be called a mini assessment, and there's an end of the unit test. So for each lesson, you have a mini assessment that's anywhere from 3 to 5 problems. In the older grades, maybe 5 to 10 problems, just for teachers to, for them to know if their class has understood the concepts or if there is a reason to reteach a concept. And then at the end of each unit, there is an assessment, again, for the same purposes, to see, okay, did everybody bomb this? Well, if they did, now what do we need to do? So I wouldn't say it's too testing excessive. Okay. Well, thank you. These were good questions. I hope I was able to answer, and I will respond to the research that's showing to the one parent who asked that question. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.